Welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name is Kirsten, and today we are doing a sort of top 10 mediums that I like to use on the gel plate. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to use 80 GSM printer paper and mostly black and white acrylic paint or a metallic acrylic paint. Okay, so we have coloured pencils, just children's coloured pencils, and normal drawing pencils. There's one there, sketching pencil. I think they're from B&M actually. So I've already done a little picture. In fact, my graph and CP to say graphite and coloured pencils will probably show up. So I was surprised that the coloured pencils worked actually. Don't know why I'm putting it down longer, it kind of just goes on straight away. Okay, so the outline's mainly the pencil and the shading is mainly the coloured pencil, so it'll be interesting to see how much of this comes up. Are children's coloured pencils made from graphite? I'm not sure. These are just basics, nothing fancy about them. Quite pleased with how well that's come up. There's a lot of detail being captured. So we've got some left on the plate and I have this here. So let's see how well it goes on again. You probably won't, I would be surprised if this transfers anything. So this is a transfer to the gel plate. There's some mediums, you couldn't use the pencil straight onto the gel plate. So actually you can see the coloured pencil's gone, but the graphite has still shown up. But on the areas where I reapplied, we did get some more coloured pencils. That's interesting. So basically, the writing pencil gives more than the coloured pencil. The second transfer is still pretty nice. Now we have alcohol markers. So I just do a variety of these. These are just cheap ones from Amazon. Some of them may work better than others. You do get a drag on the gel plate. There. So they dry pretty quickly. And when I say pretty quickly, I mean like within a minute. Now what you will see is the alcohol ink starting to come through because the paint's kind of activating it. So it will probably distort the image somewhat, but you just use that to your advantage. There's actually less distortion than I expected. Wish I'd drawn a better design. The marks that the alcohol markers give, they're a cross between annoying and lovely. It depends on what you're using it for. I was trying to kind of shade the outline of a stencil recently with them, and the brush marks were hard to manage. But I think in doing, you know, an abstract piece like that, they give it, there's quite a nice watery look to it. I'm just seeing if there's any left. Pretty sure that looks like most of it came up. But it also slightly has come into the white paint, the tones of the alcohol inks. I don't know if, you know, there's kind of blues and greens. It's rare I would ever use these on their own and draw a great big thing like that on the gel plate. But in a mixed media gel plate picture, they're lovely. There is a tiny little bit left. Which was surprising. Nice. Next. The jumbo marker. This dries pretty fast. The other thing I like about this is, it won't work with these ones, but lower down where I've just made them, you can actually lift some of it off. So you get a slightly different, you get texture within the actual big bold marks. I also like to just mess about slightly with it. I'm interested to see if that'll come up like a scrunched up ribbon effect. So this needs about a minute to dry. This is Q Connect Jumbo Permanent Marker. I got 10 of them for about £10. It's a centimetre chisel nib. I know a lot of people use Sharpies. Just going to dab it and make sure it is dry. It generally takes about a minute. It's quite a thick layer of paint I put on, so okay. There is always some splotching like that, and I don't know whether part of it's because it picks up all the little bits from the plate, or whether that's the pen that's been left behind in dots. But there you go. I love that pen. And we did get that ribbon effect coming through, and you can see there where I've lifted it off with the paper. So yeah, I really like that. Oil pastels, and here's one I made earlier. I just took a few colours. Here I've kind of done a slight bit of blending, and the rest are quite sharp. So let's see how this transfers. This is just wallpaper. I've got wallpaper lining paper, and I've actually got a lot of it, so it was handy. And they're the little bits, so do you know, I should have put that further up and we could have done a second one at the bottom. Right, we'll do part of a second one. Okay. I thought it would look more vibrant on the plate, to be honest. These are thick layers as well that I've done. Now it'll be interesting to compare the second layer with the first layer. Okay. The other thing I like about doing these transfers is there anything you need to wait about for? I don't think so. I think they all just transfer and that's it. Okay, so give that a minute. Oh, I would say they're very similar, look. The first and the second transfer are very similar. We'll need to do another one. I'll do it diagonal so we see over the top of that, so then we can tell what's came from what was left in the gel plate and what's came from this third transfer. Do you know, we've got a good amount of detail in there where I blended it. Do you see that? And the beauty of this, apart from the loss of vibrancy, that pan pastels now, you don't need to worry about smudging it. Okay, do you know, that still looks really vibrant. Well, as vibrant as it gets. I'm in love with this. You can see we've picked up some of the black pen. I actually thought we'd removed it all. And do you know, see the spotting? See if you look at that. It's the black pen left on the gel plate rather than that picking up bits of white paint from the gel plate. So that's good to know. I think if we'd left that down longer, it would be more solid. Do you know? See the diagonal one there? I would say it's just so close to being the same as that. These have, you know, lost some vibrancy on the second pull from the gel plate. So you do an oil pastel drawing and you're going to be able to transfer it a few times. This is my biggest discovery of the day so far. I'm really pleased with that. Posca pens. I watch videos of Posca pens. These take ages to dry, and even when you think they're dry, they're still drying. So I'm going to go away and make another cup of tea or coffee, whatever, while this is drying. I don't know what that is. It seemed right at the time. A very long time to dry. With these thinner ones, because I was the same with the alcohol markers, it's hard to just do a big, bold line. I'm just going a bit nuts. It's like a hot dog now. I reckon these need 20 minutes to half an hour. That's honestly, I was doing it last night. Like I was practicing everything before the video, and the Posca pens do not dry that fast. What I have done, apart from here, apart from this these red circles where I've kind of went over and over, everything else I've kind of tried to stay to one stroke. Do you know I have a gold metallic? Kind of wish I hadn't used up all the space now. Right, I'm going to do one circle with that, and then because obviously this here's quite a broken line, whereas that's a lot more solid, so it's more bolder. But that will take longer to dry. I always go in too early with them. I reckon it's been at least half an hour. It's been at least half an hour. I'm still getting a bit of it coming up. It's not bad though. Do you know what I should have done? I normally come over and I would kind of dab it with the dry paper before I put the paint down, just to be sure, and I never did that this time because the top can look dry but sort of inside it it's still wet. It's probably to do with whatever they use to keep it wet in the pens. That's my opinion, not fact. I'm going to actually pull it from this spray. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's obviously not the world's best picture. I like this. See the silver pen? I think that's worked out the nicest. Right, we'll put some more paint on. I think as well with the Poscas, because, well, I say Poscas, acrylic pens, because I know that they stay wetter and they smudge. I think I can be a bit miserable with the amount of paint I put down, which is why some of it's stuck. It's not actually the paint pen that problem's with. Still quite a bit on there. I was actually surprised at how much has still come up. It's actually, you can see it there with the gold pen. It's all come up there. You can see exactly the spaces on there. Good. So this is Derwent Ink Tints. So these blocks are water soluble, but only once. So you put them on the paper and they will react to the water, but once they've reacted to the water the first time, then they're permanent. So I've just did a bit of a rubbing with them. I'm going to put it further up. Now, because the paint's wet, I do expect a reaction here, which will be interesting. I also know from experience that these will give more than just one shot. And then I'll do another one down here. I'll do it this way. So, well, no, that's not going to make a difference. Do it that way. I was thinking if I did it upside down, I might be able, you know, so I can identify which is which. But if they're that similar, it doesn't matter. Okay. Right, there is a difference in the first and second transfer, which I like. So you can see it there starting to come into the paint. Similar to the alcohol markers, actually, the way they did. So first and second paper transfer. We'll try a third paper transfer, and obviously we'll try and pick up from the plate again as well. There's less smudging than I thought there would be. So you can see there where I've rolled the brayer that there's smudging. But overall, it's held a lot of the sharpness. So this is the original one here. And that was the second transfer. So I'm going to do this over the second transfer because we know there was less. In fact, I think there's actually more smudging on the second transfer than there was in the first. I like these anyway. Okay. I was surprised that stayed so sharp, but it has. I'm going to turn that this way because that's the third transfer there. So you can actually see it just 1, 2, 3 from the paper. But the ghost print's pretty nice as well. I like that. That's the ghost print of that. think these have a lot of potential. Up next we have the pan pastels. I've used these very recently actually. But they're still in the top 10, so these are just makeup sponges. I find the little tools they came with, I mean, they're obviously would be good for on paper, but for the gel plate, the way I use it, they're less helpful. Bright yellow with a bit of blue in it. It's actually blue soft pastel that's in it, which is nice as well because it's nice that it can mix with other media like that. I probably regret putting that black on. I'll be like, oh, what have you done? Okay. And you can just paint on these right away. You will get a few pulls out of this, but they will get much lighter very quickly. Look at that. So see if you were putting that on with a brush or something. Do you know you could create texture within them? So some of the other marks will be from me smudging my fingers on here, and probably like from the ink tints or the alcohol. There's definitely ink tints there. I can see it in the yellow. That's really solid and deep looking, but this is, you know, I should use them more intentionally. They don't just put down colour, that's what I'm trying to say. There's definitely a lot more depth in the first one, but this is still pretty nice. It's interesting, isn't it? So the pan pastels, we can definitely get a few goes from. Right, next up is one of my favourites. It's a recent discovery. Kids poster paint. Now, oh, I've just put some acrylic paint in it. Never mind. Posa paint behaves very similarly, very like acrylic paint, but I do find it's a lot more translucent. Although I haven't actually used the white. It's mixed really well with that acrylic paint that was on the roller though. Let's do this. I find that the poster paint lifts up easily with the acrylic paint, but it's not, it doesn't lift It's as if it's not quite strong enough to lift the acrylic paint as cleanly. It does lift it, but not a bit scrappily. Right, I'm going to let that dry and then we'll put the poster paint on top with a clean roller, of which I do have. That's this. So we use the red just to differentiate. Oops. It'll actually be interesting to see if it pulls up the pan pastel as well. Not that there's much of that left. You can see it there. It didn't really come up here. You can see it slightly. What I like about the poster paint is the three primary colours mix very well together, and it's very cheap. It's basically kids paint. Well, it is kids paint because I bought it from the kids section. Okay, you can see that the black pan pastel has come up. I like the way that it behaves on top of each other as well. I have put down quite a thin layer. So very similar to the acrylic paint. Soft pastels. So again, I've just got another redrawing. Some of them are just rubbings on the side, and then there's some that I've actually used the edge to put in some sort of print lines. I'll do it here. I'll do the second one over the top of that. Okay, and now for the second transfer. It's pretty vibrant looking, isn't it? I'm very, very into using different media on the gel plate. And with the craft press, I've been doing it with that as well. Okay. We'll do a third transfer too. I think I've smudged this. Can you see that? It could be the red from the poster paint. I think it's from the poster paint. I've never smudged it before, so. For the third transfer, I'll use the big roller because it's definitely dry. The first and second transfer are very equal, aren't they? Because the pan pastel's here, it's hard to tell. But we're going to do a third transfer, so we'll know from that. And then we'll have this as well. It does look like it's pulled most of it from the plate though. I didn't want to get out the baby oil and clean the gel plate between uses because like the pan pastels, the way they're keeping on showing through, that in itself's good information. Right, so the third transfers at the top, and at the bottom, that is the sort of ghost print of the first transfer. So the transfer from the paper remains pretty good, but it does die off on the gel plate. But I love that. That pan pastel just doesn't stop, does it? And this is water-soluble oil pastel. Now, I'm assuming these are similar to water-soluble crayons. But I don't actually own any water-soluble crayons. Right, I'm going to do the first transfer down here. And then I'll do the second one up here. Right. So you can actually see it starting to come through the paint because these are water soluble, so they react to the paint. They're very similar to the oil pastels in the way that the vibrancy on here has changed. But it'll be interesting to see, because they're water soluble, if they stay as good as this on the ghost print pool. So I'll transfer this again at the top, and then we'll use this for the ghost print. So this is the ghost print, and this was the other transfer. So the third transfer. Oops. I would say there's some lost in the third transfer, and the ghost pool definitely. But it's all these things, it's all these different features that actually make it so good, because you want variation. Just so you can see that the pan pastel isn't going to be there forever. This is just baby oil. The black might need another wee bit of baby oil. Like it never happened, apart from the towel in my hands. Oh, and the lovely artwork. So there we have it. Lots of variations, you know, to add to your prints. I'd like these pens in different colours. The alcohol markers, ink tints, the Posas, soft pastels, poster paint, which we love. The colours it makes, it's beautiful. It's probably the colours that we chose, but these oil pastels, I think are my favourite today. And we have the pan pastels as well. I think that was it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks very much for watching, and take care, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!